It's always about something gross, something that you can't even say, because if you say it, you look like you're the gross one. Just because it's so gross coming out of your mouth, that to say it, you look like the gross one. And, I'm quitting weed right now. I'm on day one. I'm quitting weed. Pretty excited. But pretty struggling, too. Pretty struggling. I'm definitely excited. I'm definitely fantasizing about how amazing it would be to smoke weed. And I definitely have both excitements. The fantasy of how great it'd be to smoke weed and just, go on. And there's this guy named Tyler who, I don't know if he told me he was going to save my life, but he's like, when I meet a girl, I'm going to be the most important guy she's ever met in her life. And not only did he believe it, but I believed it when he told me that. Just imagine meeting someone like that who you look up to, and he says, whenever I date a new girl, and he's dating lots of girls, he's rich, he's successful, I'm going to be the most important guy that she's ever met in her entire life. And he's saying it like, so on the surface, you're going, well, that's just a con artist, psychopath, cult leader, and you're just one of his victims. But imagine looking at it from the perspective of you don't believe that. You think this is the coolest guy ever. And he's telling you that whenever he meets a girl, he's going to be the most important person she's ever met in her life. And he's not bragging. He's saying, you have to be mindful of this. This is the reality, and you have to be mindful of this. What do you think that's like for her? And this is going to be shocking for her. That you're the winner, she wants you. She'd rather have some of you. You're not going to be just with her. She thought she wanted a husband, but she knows right away that she'd rather have some of you than all of her husband. She'd rather just have a little winning slice of you once in a while. And you're going to be the most important person. It's not her husband. You're actually the most important person she's ever met in her life. Now, could you imagine me thinking that? I have a circumcised wiener. I've never had a full orgasm. I've never dreamt of satisfying a girl. I'm totally lonely. I'm a loser. I'm insecure. And I'm thinking, you mean like this guy who's like taking me under his wing? Like I'm special, like I'm like a lion. Like I was born with sheep, but this guy's a lion and I'm actually just like this guy. And I'm actually gonna be like sex god, fulfilled, fucking. And then you find out, and I want to brag, this is going to be a little not safe for work here, but I was pretty good in bed. I would have sex for like 5 hours at a time, for years at a time. And, and that was mostly dedicated to her. And I was really good at it. And I want to say that I could probably make the average girl come better than anyone ever has in her life. Just want to say that. I mean, that fucking... I haven't had sex in like 10 years. Okay, on some level, this is very desperate, okay? I haven't had sex in 10 years and I'm sitting by myself jacking off all the time. But back when I used to have sex for 5 hours. I could really make girls come. Okay, that sounds really desperate. I'm aware of how desperate that sounds. Part of me just wants to say, though, that to the gang stalker girls, no guy has ever loved you enough to make you come that much. To put that much effort, to put that much effort into it, to make it all about you. No one has ever done that. No one will ever do that for you, probably. And that's pretty bitter. Part of me is saying, and wouldn't you love if it was me? Wouldn't you? I bet you wish you love it was me, and secretly I wish that you would be with me. And that's part of it. But part of me is making a real statement here. Beyond bragging, part of me is making that you can't do that when there's not love. Like, you can't force someone to make you come better. Like that's what it's really about. Like that's what gang stalking is really about. It's about sexually dominating people. Like that's really what it's about. It's like the masturbatory pleasure of ruining someone's life, and you're watching and you're taking control, and you can watch them everywhere, and you can do anything you want, and they can't do anything, and they have to pretend like they're your friend, but you know that they know that you're an enemy. You know, it's pretty nasty. It's pretty nasty shit. It's pretty sick. It's pretty sickening. They want to do something that makes you sick. It's never just clean vanilla. It's never just, well, make me come and let's enjoy the warm sexual embrace. It's always something dirty. It's something, it's something it's something that poisons it. It's like, yeah, but it's the warm sexual embrace, but you didn't have a choice or something, it's always something. And for people who are so obsessed with sex, they will never even have good orgasms. It's like their obsession with sex is like vicarious. It's like they're afraid of it, really. It's like they're obsessed with it because they're afraid of it. Like, that's what I see when I see a gang stalker. I actually see someone who's never really, had a really good orgasm. Like, so I see someone who's repressed. Like, the smirk, and they're always smirking. And I know they get it from headquarters. Like, they're told to do all that stuff. But where's headquarters getting it from? Isn't headquarters the same ilk? I mean, is the CIA really more intelligent than the homeless guys they hire? Some are just rich. They're just cunning. They're not really intelligent. They're just cunning. And so I think they're basically afraid of sex. They're the type of sex traffickers who they get you in a room, and instead of raping you and having sex with you, they just force you to masturbate while watching them. They're just like, you have to look at me, and I'm going to masturbate, and you're going to masturbate. And that way it's not cheating. But we're still going to kidnap you, bring you to this warehouse. Me and my husband are going to have sex in front of you, and we're going to force you to watch us and masturbate. And so we're not going to call that rape, but that's just basically what we want to do. That's the kind of repressed that a gang stalker is. Well, we didn't touch your dick. We just forced you to touch your dick. We just held a gun to you and forced you to watch us while we masturbated to you, and we forced you to so it wasn't really, we didn't really cheat. So we're fine. It's all okay. That's the type of repressed they are, and they have never had good orgasms, and it comes down to that. And they're so obsessed with good orgasms because they've never had good orgasms. They never had good orgasms. Orgasms. They never had good orgasms because they're afraid of them. Clearly, they're afraid of their sexuality because clearly they're sexually repressed, because clearly they're getting off on this sexually, and clearly they believe that they're good Samaritans. Now, some would say they don't believe they're good Samaritans. They know they're just, remember what that racist guy said about black people in American History X? No, he's not proud. He's any good accomplishment they have, you'll have some way of reframing it. And God damn it, there's fucking 30 seconds left on this advertisement. Pissing me off here. So I'm quitting smoking weed. You already heard that. We don't need to go back into that. I'm just... I'm all over the place. It makes me sad sometimes, being gang stalked. Makes me scared sometimes, and it makes me angry sometimes. And anger is interesting because to be angry at someone, you have to believe in them. If you just saw them as totally beneath your dignity and just an inanimate object, beneath humanity, beneath even acknowledging, you would just see them as like a piece of garbage. But when you call people a piece of garbage, you don't really mean it. I mean, you kind of might, but you don't really. What you're really saying, because you wouldn't call a piece of garbage a piece of garbage. You would never say to a piece of garbage, I hate you so much and I really want you to know that you're a piece of garbage. You only say it to people because you want them to know it, because you expected something different. You had a higher hope for them and they disappointed you. And you took responsibility for them and your grace and your wisdom and your intelligence, and they didn't see it. They were just the swine. You cast your pearls before swine. And you were how offended were you when you found out they thought the same thing of you? You were really offended then. What? That swine thinks I'm swine and they're the pearls? Are you kidding me? But that is how it always works. Yeah, I'm definitely, it's definitely bothersome. Like, it's kind of like you go to Calcutta where they're all starving and you give them like pictures and of meals of like, you cook delicious meals in front of them. And you eat in front of them, and you might give them table scraps, and they kind of love you they revere you, but they know somehow you're the enemy. They know somehow with your camera set up that they're starving why you're choosing that spot to dine. You have to dine right where they're dying of starvation, and that's really what you're liking. And I feel like that they play on a certain deprive you of sex, which is like a biological need. Arguably, the most valued experience in every culture is sex. They deprive you of sex, arguably, except for themselves. Arguably, they date you. You're a gang stalker. You try to honey trap people, and you even marry them, and you even have their baby, and you even tell yourself that you love them, and you tell the TI that you love them, and the TI might even know they're being gang stalked. I've seen that, where there's a TI dating online, and they're like, yeah, I got this new girlfriend. She might be a gang stalker. I have no idea. You know, I think my wife is a gang stalker, and sometimes she tries to save me from pitfalls or something. Pitfalls, to the onlooker who doesn't know, they'd say pitfalls, oh, like your handler, like you're out of control. You have a problem somehow that needs outside help. Intervention, and she's going to help you if you go off the rails. But what it actually means is, she's going to when they put something into your soup to make you sick, she's going to take that out, she's going to help you or something. And at the end of her life, she's going to say, oh, fuck it, I'll just get targeted too. I'll just finally get targeted too and be with my family at the end of her life. And she has a kid. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine having a kid with a gang stalker, and she knows or he knows that they're going to raise the kid to be a gang stalker, or they're going to take your kid? Like, I had a ex-girlfriend who wanted to get pregnant. She was really hot too. And she would have had a baby with me while cheating on me, and she would have just took the baby and just left. She would have done that. Now, thankfully, that would have been exactly what I wanted, probably. But I wouldn't have known that's what I wanted, and I would have thought I wanted something else, and I would have been very devastated. That would have been perfectly in line with nature, what she was planning on wanting to do. But my culture that had been programmed into me would have been devastated by that. I would have been it would have been the cause of my life. It would have just been horrible, oh my God, and she, and then there's always the thought of getting her back, because she herself didn't mean to cheat. She wasn't an evildoer. She was just so horny. she was just so horny that she just, she was like a cum magnet. I saw her as that once. After she cheated on me, she came back. I was like hard as a rock talking to her. I was like, oh my God, like I see you for the first time now. You're actually just going around trying to get cum. And then I was like, oh my God, and you're trying to get my cum. And I had like the hardest boner I'd ever had when I had sex with her at that time. And that was after we had broke up. Things were kind of weird. I didn't know if we were going to have sex. But, I mean, she had another boyfriend. She was already cheating on me with another guy. She was already with the guy who she now has kids with. And she was just keeping me along, using me as a fluffer. Using me as, well, I'm just sexting with my guy and I'll use stand-in dildo. And I'm like a dildo so dumb. I'm just like, oh, I'm smoking weed. Thanks for Grand Theft Auto 5, baby. Anyway, here's my weed money from baby. Thanks, baby. And, well, baby was a stripper and I didn't have a job and she took care of me. And, and her family would have helped me build a house. They would have taught me how to build a house. We could have, I probably didn't have to work. I had another girlfriend who was super rich. She's a psychiatrist now. She would have taken care of me. I often wondered if by the end of it, if she would have cheated on me or something, but I don't think so. It was never within her destiny for that to be the case because her hips were not wide enough. But she had a great face. She was one of my favorites mentally. Like, to talk to, she was hilarious. She was mad sick. She mushed her shit up with her hands once. She's mad sick. Type of girl who, like, piss on your face, like really, really mad. Like put ice up her, like just like mad fucking, like just the most dark sense of humor. Like, just like the most sick, like the sickest jokes you could ever say. And she just ate that. Like, I was like just talking about the sickest jokes I could ever think of. And she just couldn't stop laughing. Like, she, and now I think she might be, hopefully not. She may have been a gang stalker. I don't think so. I've thought of how many people in my life, like, how many people were gang stalkers, and I also thought, did I like it? Did I like that it's a rape? Yeah, obviously, but at some time, that's a shallow experience. There's this one philosopher, Alan Watts, and he brings up the point. You think as a guy, you're like that guy in Dickie Greenleaf, Talented Mr. Ripley. I think his friend Freddie. He says, Dickie, don't you wish you could fuck every woman just once? And Dickie says, only once? And Freddie says, only once. You think that you want only once, but really, this is what this philosopher said, who was married 4 or 5 times, cheated on all his wives. Talks about being contented in aloneness. This is what this philosopher talks about. He says, what does he say? The philosopher about being alone. Having my, I'm not supposed to forget what I'm talking about because I've already quit smoking weed. So this is very disconcerting. Shit, it's so close. It's like right in the background of my mind. God damn. Oh, man. I can't remember it. Okay, what was I talking about? Fucking... I'm a super stud? I'm a super hot stud? It's cool to be raped, but at some point, it's like you think you want to have just one girl every time, but eventually, you want to have the same girl twice. You want to build on what you're already established. You want to build on something with someone. What you have, you want that to go more. Okay, so that's the same. There's a parallel here. I forget what I'm talking about. There's a metaphor, but there's a parallel here. What was the other thing? There's something about a metaphor, parallel. Rape is cool. But but you can't develop a relationship with just, that one person. So when it's a rape, you can't have a good orgasm. Basically, there's a lot of people who have to. There's a lot of girls who say, I have to get roughed up in an alley or I can't really come. Like there's those kind of people. But eventually, when it comes down to a fantasy, when it comes down to its cerebral, not coming from your loins, but it's coming from your mind, when you're using your brain as your sexual organ and not your loins, you're fucking... It's hard to feel competent when you forget what you're talking about every 5 minutes. God, and I'm feeling like a loser now, forgetting what I'm talking about, remembering that I started off this podcast by saying, do you know how good I am in bed? And now I'm just standing here like a sucker in front of the camera saying, no, I do remember what I'm talking about. I'm not just a drug addict. I am the comeback king. I am going to be coming back really strong as a real stud. Keep watching, please, I swear. And then I just go die in a pool of cum. Oh, God. But I'm trying to break it down here. What makes people bad people is it's in the details. It's in like the fucking... You don't go into it all the way, so you never see what it is, and so you stay repressed. And then out of your repression, then you're fucking controllable. You're fucking dumb. And then you're a gang stalker. You lord it over people like, haha, we can have sex, we can... Now, arguably, so they deprive you of sex. Arguably, you can still have sex. Now, I haven't had sex in like 10 years. But arguably, you still can have sex, as long as it's with a gang stalker. I was looking back at... I've looked back at the sex I've had with the last girlfriend I had, who was a gang stalker. And I tried to fucking... I couldn't. I haven't even masturbated to that once. And I've thought of other people who I've never even had sex with. I've masturbated to them like 100 times. But someone who I've had sex with like 100 times... And it's not just the fact that I've had sex with them 100 times, because you'd say, well, then you're not going to masturbate them. Clearly, if you've had them already. That's like biology. That's the Coolidge effect. It's not like that. Okay, it's like lots of time has went by. They just didn't have the right hips to waist ratio, and I think lots of other ones with the right ratio were gang stalkers as well. That was pretty cool, but the love to have a really good orgasm needed was there only because I was deceived into thinking they weren't a gang stalker. And and it sucks, maybe I don't have that love to give to anyone anymore. That kind of sucks. I mean, I was not really good at having sex with my wiener, but I just learned how to do the come here motion. I just did that for like 5 hours. So, that was all I learned how to do. And, there's different spots, you can learn. There's different spots. It's not just like that. There's lots of different ones. And of course, you need someone who's healthy. To learn that, you have to have someone who's healthy enough to squirt and to... I know someone with really high IQ, like one in like over 10 million rare, who says that squirt is just piss. And I'm not sure he's correct about that, but I only heard that he said that from someone else. But someone else was someone who we all spent time together, so it was someone I trusted. I wondered that too, but I don't think so, because I've had squirt that was totally different texture, totally just completely different, and you could feel when there was squirt built up too. And so to call that piss, I just don't know. Now, that guy claimed to be one of the best lovers of all time too, and he had books on it, and he said, when girls are with me, I have to give them coaching on how not to fall in love with me, because the sex is so good that it changes all their brain chemistry and they all think they're in love with me. So I have to tell them that's just really good sex and that's what happens. And if you're so infatuated, I have to actually cut you off because it's not healthy for you. And, so to think someone with that kind of grandeur, that kind of intellectual arguing capacity, I'm not going to argue against someone like that. And someone who has the girlfriends around to prove it, I'm not going to argue with someone like that. And then I think, well, maybe he doesn't know. Maybe he doesn't even know that squirt is real squirt. And then I think, well, what if it's actually not real squirt? What if it really is just pee? I don't know. I've drank pee. It's not good. It's not just benign. And you're like, oh, it's just a bit of pee. It's not. It's not good. Especially if you're drinking it from someone who's beautiful, because then their body is going to process the waste more efficiently. If someone has good tasting pee, that's an ugly person. That's someone who can't even process the waste. Now, is squirt pee? I don't think so. Was that guy who said that a gang stalker? He may have been. Was the guy who said that squirt is pee a gang stalker? He may have been too. I don't even know. They can certainly have intellectual prowess. They can have a high IQ. I don't think that's, Einstein. Rain Man has a high IQ. I don't think that's, yeah, I'm a bit jealous. I wish I had a high IQ too. I don't have a high IQ. I don't think. I got some good marks in math. I had a math teacher give me a handshake before. I did good at video games where you those math video games, those jewels, and you turn them in different areas. I was good at that the first time I tried that. Someone said, "It's your first time?" And I said, yeah. I thought, I'm just trying to get lucky here. I was really trying. That was that high IQ guy. I was trying to impress him hardcore. I'm like, oh, new game, I'll do it. I want to be high IQ with my little tiny head, my little egg head. I want to be high IQ too. Playing, I'm doing, and he's like, oh, that's, I don't think he was placating me. He wasn't that type. But interesting to think that it's another mentor type person, and then looking back, and I say he didn't even know the difference between squirt and pee. Your highest mentor doesn't know the difference between squirt and pee. Yeah. Anyway, so that first mentor though, one that I started off talking this video about, he said, I felt like he said this, I'm going to save your life. And he talks mad shit about smoking weed. He's just like, do not smoke weed. It's going to cap your potential. You're going to be doing the worst bullshit of your life that you hate. And it's cool if you're zen about it. Like, you're a enlightened guy who works at the bank. And that's your story. No, you're not working at the bank. You're meditating. That's your true job. And your other job is just, it's not like that. He's like, you're going to do the thing that you really hate. And the way you're going to do it is by smoking weed. And if you just stop smoking weed, you wouldn't be able to do that thing that you hate. And you'd have to work your way out of it. And so that's how I see him saving my life. I'm like, I'm going to fucking get my 2 cents value out of you. Because he had seminars. I went to one of his seminars and he wasn't even there. He's like, you want to see me live? He did this live speaking. He's like, do you want to watch me live? Come to my next event. So I went to the next event and he wasn't even there. And then I went to his next event where he really was going to be there, and I complained. I said, I should get something free because I went to your previous event and you weren't even there. And he just blew me off. And then one of his other friends he says, don't tell anyone, but this guy, he's all about the money. He's all about the money. And I didn't, that guy who told me that, I didn't even like him that much. He was dumb and sleazy. He's just dumb and sleazy. We're standing outside smoking, and the woman comes out from the building. She says, you can't smoke here. And he's like, oh, okay, do you want to smoke? And she's like, oh, no thanks, but do you mind just smoking somewhere else? And then he says, do you see how she changed her demeanor when I asked her if she wanted to smoke? She was totally nice. She wanted it, dude. She wanted it. She wanted me. I was like, whoa. Like that's like totally delusional. Like, making someone be polite to you, like forcing someone to be polite to you by offering them a smoke is like not proving that you're a cool sex god. like that's that's kind of how he had this attitude, like I'm a cool sex god. It's like, I don't think so. I'm not a cool sex god either, but I know you're not. Yeah, and you're trying to get me to believe that you are. Like, are you fucking stupid? Are you fucking stupid? Like, do you not get it? I don't get it. Yeah, the guy's fucking stupid. I need to have a nap. No, could I make any girl come like that? I don't think so. I just learned on one. I just learned how to do that with one person. So, well, you could probably learn to do it with multiple. Probably a lot of people can do that. Probably a lot of people have pride of like, oh, I could make my wife come so good. I could make my husband come so good. Meanwhile, they're just the only one they've had in bed for years. Or the only one they cared about learning how to make feel good. Well, I had a guy friend once who was pretty gay, actually. He was a real creep. He was a weirdo. He was a psychologist. He rubbed my hand against a girl's butt once. I didn't want to do that. Just a random girl walking by. He takes my hand, rubs it into her butt. I got punched in the face that night, too. Probably because of that, but who knows? By a random sucker punch, I got punched in the face. That's not just trivial. When you get punched in the face, which is, the first time as an adult, and it's a sucker punch, that's pretty fucked up. Okay, so we got this song right here. This song is the fucking best. This is by these two gay guys named Bronski Beat Mark Almond. I Feel Love Live. Oh my god. And this guy sings so good. The guy in the khakis and the blue. Look at him dance. Look at this guy. This guy is the best. The guy in the blue shirt and the khakis, he holds the whole thing. Oh man, if you could hear him sing, he's crazy. Yeah, I got this going on right now. Oh yeah, but the thing is, even though most guys they have their girls and they stay married and they learn how to have good sex and all that, not as good as I did. Okay, they didn't go that far. They didn't go 5 hours deep, years into it. Over and over. Speaking in tongues. And that's the difference. That's the difference between the immature people who are violent because they can't create, because through immaturity they can't create. And the people who are the fucking, hostages. Shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be like that. Yeah, it shouldn't be like that. Well, that's what we're doing, I guess. I hope that this is an intellectual war and that this means something. I hope that this means something. YouTube isn't free. Like, We'd have to pay big money to be able to do this, to express ourselves. You might think it's nothing. I'm talking to myself here, that you're just talking to 20 people. You want to be a celebrity and you only got 20 people watching you. Wow. You might think that's nothing. That's actually a big deal. That's a really big deal. Imagine as a targeted individual, you had your own personal meeting. You put an ad in the newspaper, hey, other targeted individuals, and you got 20 people coming to your meetings. You'd be like, oh my God, this is amazing. I found my people. Like the YouTube, the internet, it gives us an incredible thing that there's like trillions of dollars of technology put into it. It's really great. And hopefully being gladiators isn't the way to deal with problems anymore, and that we can actually deal by information, consciousness change. Hopefully that's what we're doing. And so by being less repressed, you're more, you're more conscious, you're less violent, and that's how we grassroots change the world. And it looks like the gang stalkers are always winning, but depending on how you look at it, because we're still alive, we're always still here too. The gang stalkers never quite win. They haven't won for the last 2,000 years, for the last 10,000 years since time has began, since it's been recorded. They've never won yet. They can't. They can't win because where they're going is us. They can't win because there's no future in there. They're going to retardville. There's only evolving out of that. You can't evolve into retardation. Like, okay, I'm going to be the smartest retard to ever exist. The new wave is retardation. We're going to go into retardation, and that's it's not the future. Like rape and violence and slavery as your way of dealing with your existential angst, it's never going to win. And the slaves are eventually going to mature to the point where they go, oh my God, look what we are doing. Oops. Oh my God, I can't believe what we did. Well, you don't even exist. You're just asleep. You don't even have an opinion. You don't even know if you like a beard. You don't even know if you like a beard on a man. You don't even know what your own taste is. You couldn't even admit. If you liked a beard on a man, you couldn't even admit that. You wouldn't even be allowed to admit that to yourself. That's how in the dark you are. That's how homeless you are. That's how homeless you are. That if corporate policy goes against a facial hair length, that you can't even admit to yourself that you like that. I can't. He just has to shave. Could you imagine though? You're a gang stalker and you're gonna have a baby with someone and you're gonna raise the baby to be a gang stalker and you don't tell them. You're gonna steal their baby away. Could you imagine how you don't even look at life as it has any value at all? You're like, well, a baby? Oh, that's a money machine, ATM machine. Oh, look, a man's penis. That's an ATM machine. Okay, we just got to get his seed in me, and then I'm gonna have the DNA. Then I'm gonna get the DNA testing kit, and then we're the same seed. Then I have his money. Okay, got it. Then I can have sex with whoever I want. Got it. He's not gonna do the DNA check. Then I never even have to get pregnant with him. Got it. Maybe I'm heartbroken. Maybe I got cheated a bit. Yeah, someone told me that once. She said, yeah, you got, your first love broke your heart. You're never going to recover. And I've been thinking maybe I've been better off before my first love. I was miserable. Yeah. Go back to where you were before you met your first love. I was miserable. I was searching. But maybe I was just as good or better off. Maybe I was just as good. Yeah, it was just as good. But they wave it in your face because it's biology. They wave a big booty in your face. And they go, look, you fucking pervert. They shame you for it. They say look at your nature. You disgust me. I want to watch you more. I don't want to kill you, but I have to, so it doesn't look like this is just fucking you. So that this doesn't look like I just want to fuck you, I have to hurt you too. So I can say I'm doing it for God and I'm punishing the fucking the bad guy. I'm working on behalf of the establishment of the good league, and I'm working to punish the bad people. Just so happens that that's a big cover for getting off. That's how I see it. Some people say it's the other way around, that, you know, it's getting off is just a part of the violence, and it's all about power, and that's the highest thing. It's not about sex, it's about power. And your ego trip of power is even more powerful than sex, and that's what you really want. And raping someone is just a form of violence. It's not even about getting off. It's just about dominating them. You know, to me, it's basically sexual. The root of life is sexual. We come from sex. The problem has come from sex as well. No, the problem has not come from sex, but that's where the problem is. Okay, I gotta get a new song on here. The problem has come from the fear of sex. That's really where the problem has come from. That's really what this whole thing is. And I solved it. But solving it doesn't do anything. Solving it doesn't do anything. I just explained it. That's all I did. I just gave a map. Having the map doesn't change the outcome. I just said how it happens, why it happens. The real point of today's video is quitting smoking, and that guy saving my life. Yeah, I have to listen to him. He's rich. He's oversexed. I have to listen to him. He's smart, but maybe not. Sometimes I think, no, he's a total loser. He's gone. He's way gone. He's 1,000 times gone. He's 1,000,000 times gone, dude. He's so gone, you couldn't even dream of how gone that guy is. And if you had his money, you would have relationships that denied that it was prostitution on levels that were so subtle that it could win an Academy Award. It would be the most Academy Award winning movie. Your relationships would not look like prostitution to such a degree. If you had that guy's fucking money, your fucking whore would look like a true Romeo and Juliet, and the only lovers who are successful are lovers who can never meet. Because every love affair fails. You find your beloved is just stinking and shit, just like you, just empty. Finally you realize they're just lying and they're just empty. They're just begging just like you. They thought you had the secret sauce. So it's Romeo and Juliet. We're never allowed to be together, but somehow we are, and it's the perfect love. That sounds nice, but I forget how I got on that topic. I'm sorry, that is fucking lame. I'm forgetting so often. You're just gonna have to consider the fact that you're silent. You could be telling me what I'm talking about here, I'm not mad at you for not remembering, because I don't remember either. And I'm not lying. I'm not being passive aggressive, okay? That's actually one of my pet peeves, when someone's like, you don't remember what I was talking about? And it's like, well, neither do you. So don't give me that. Yeah, but this was for your benefit. I was doing this for you. Yeah, but you didn't say that. Like, I got the sense you really wanted to perform for me. Yeah. Anyway, see you later. Bye.